The economy in 2021 looked pretty bleak. The recession of 2020 left many people unemployed and with less money than they had before, so the recovery period was much slower than it could have been. The way that we spend our money is changing too. People are investing their savings into cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin rather than spending them on goods and services or holding on to them for retirement. There are still many people who can't find jobs, but there are also plenty of opportunities for entrepreneurs to start their own businesses. By the end of 2021, COVID will have impacted the global economy more than Apple did in 2017, more than Amazon is expected to be by 2023, and potentially even more than Microsoft has done. I believe that COVID could potentially impact our lives as much as electricity has. That's right, if you could go back 100 years and tell someone they would be using something daily that was known only to science fiction writers at the time, they would think of electricity immediately, without any hesitation or confusion. And yet today we're familiar with electricity because it powers everything around us, including this device in which you're listening to these words. The virus has already had a significant impact on the global economy. Airlines have canceled flights, hotels are empty, and trade is stalled as businesses close their doors to protect employees from potential exposure. Many developed nations suffered a severe economic downturn as a result of the travel decline. In the first 3 months of 2021, according to the UNWTO World Tourism Barometer, tourism had fallen by 88% worldwide. COVID-19 is also causing a liquidity squeeze as banks restrict lending and companies hoard cash. This is exacerbating the downturn and could lead to even more defaults and bankruptcies down the road. Already, there are reports of firms in China going under due to COVID-19 related losses. Governments around the world are scrambling to respond to the crisis, with some announcing stimulus measures and providing financial assistance to affected companies. In the US, Congress has approved $15 billion in emergency funding for disaster relief, while China's leaders have pledged more than $100 billion towards combating the virus. The crypto market has been the talk of the town for a while now. Investors are trying to figure out what's going on with the crypto in the current economy and how it will affect their portfolios in the future, especially after COVID's major hit on the economy worldwide. A lot of people don't know that crypto is just one part of an entire economy that includes many different sectors. The crypto market has been on a downward trend since the beginning of 2020. COVID has had a major impact on the economy, with stock prices dropping and businesses struggling. Despite this, crypto is still being used by many people around the world. In 2021, there were over 2,000 cryptocurrencies in circulation. The global crypto market cap was at its peak in January 2018 when it reached $830 billion. However, it has since decreased to $236 billion as of February 2020. Bitcoin is still the most popular cryptocurrency and accounts for about 54% of the total crypto market cap. In 2021, there were about 18 million Bitcoin wallets in use. The global debt market has been growing at a steady rate and is now worth over $100 trillion. The US economy is still the largest in the world, with the GDP of about $22 trillion. China's economy is the second largest, with a GDP of about $15 trillion. In 2021, about 332 million people lived in the United States and over 1.4 billion people lived in China. Ever since the economic troubles in 2008, the economy has been a major subject of discussion within America. It's clear that the economy will continue being discussed for years to come, as it hasn't completely recovered yet. In order to plan ahead with the economy, I will outline what it might look like by 2022. The 2020 recession was very challenging economically due to the vast instability it caused. It caused many people to have trouble finding jobs, which contributed to poverty rates rising significantly during this time. Poverty still remains at an all-time high today, even though the economy seems to be gradually recovering now. There are many factors that influence the economy, but there are two main ones that had an especially significant impact. In 2021, there were around 246 million people living in the United States. The unemployment rate was about average at around 4%. However, this number doesn't tell the whole story, because a lot of people have stopped looking for jobs or are working part-time when they would rather have a full-time job, of course. The median household income was $63,000 in 2021, which is much lower than it was before the recession. The stock market has been doing well since 2020 and is currently at an all-time high. This has helped to boost the economy somewhat, but it's not enough to make up for all the other losses. The main reason for this growth is that the Federal Reserve has been lowering interest rates, which make it cheaper to borrow money. Despite these positive indicators, there are still a lot of people who are struggling financially. In 2021, about 41 billion people are living in poverty, and that number is only going up. There are also still a lot of people with debt. The average American has over $38,000 in debt. This includes student loan debt, credit card debt, and mortgage debt. So, what can we expect from the U.S. economy in 2022? It's hard to say because so much depends depends on the country's political landscape as well as global events. However, most economists agree that the economy won't improve significantly until the next presidential election. So, until then, we'll just have to wait and see. In 2021, the United States had a GDP of around 23 trillion. This is a bit higher than it was in 2020, but it's still not back to where it was before the recession. The main drivers of this growth are service sector and technology companies. However, there are still many sectors that are struggling, such as manufacturing and agriculture. The most common jobs in 2021 were retail salespeople, cashiers, and food preparation workers. These jobs aren't very high paying, but they do provide some stability. The number of people employed in these positions have been going down since 2020 because of the recession. However, the number of people employed in higher paying but more unstable jobs have been going up. There are a lot more software developers and computer programmers. Millennials have made up over half of the workforce in 2021, which means that they control most of our spending behaviors. In this section, we'll take a look at how their attitudes towards money have changed since 2020. However, it's important to keep in mind that there's still quite a bit of diversity within this group. For example, personality traits like risk-taking or frugality will affect what kinds of products and services millennials buy. The recession has had an impact on just about every aspect of finances for young adults between 18 to 35 years old. Before the recession, many young adults were living with their parents and could spend a lot of money on things they didn't necessarily need. Some economists would argue that this was hurting the economy because it increased demand without increasing supply. Demand went up despite the fact that most older people had less disposable income to spend. As you can imagine, young consumers started spending much more conservatively after 2010 when they either moved out or lost their jobs, of course, or both. This is reflected in the data. In 2021, only about 33% of millennials said that they were comfortable spending more money than they had saved. This number was much higher in 2020, around 45%. It's also worth noting that a lot of young adults are still struggling with debt from before the recession. In 2021, the average millennial had over $35,000 in debt. Despite these numbers, there are still some indicators that things might be starting to improve for younger consumers. For example, in 2021, there was an increase in the number of people who said they felt confident about their ability to make sound financial decisions, and although most millennials aren't yet saving for retirement, those tend to have larger balances than previous cohorts. Despite the challenges COVID has brought on, 2021's economy has recovered surprisingly well, with a record-breaking stock market and low unemployment rates. Inflation was low, and the world's major economies were performing well. The cryptocurrency market had a banner year, with Bitcoin reaching an all-time high of over $68,000 per coin in November 2021. Blockchain technology continued to gain traction among businesses and investors. However, there are still some challenges facing the economy as well. In December, global trade tensions mounted throughout the year, culminating in a full-blown trade war between the United States and China. This led to significant volatility in stock markets and raised fears of a recession. Despite these concerns, most economists believe that the economy will remain strong heading into 2022. How do you feel about the economy going forward? Tell us what you think in the comments below. Please hit the like button and let us know if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to subscribe to Value Add Guy and hit the bell icon so you're notified whenever we post new content. Thanks for watching.